Okay, can everybody hear my screen now? Okay, just open up a Visual Studio, and then let's create a new project. This new project. All right, so make sure you select C#, and then here I'm going to say this is a third example. Third EX. I always just put into a place that is convenient for you to find. So we're going to put on desktop. Okay, select the photo. Let's just put in a 350. Well, it doesn't matter. In your case, you can just put it anywhere. Put on anywhere on desktop. So here my third example. Okay, so this is the project title, and this is the photo I'm going to put inside. Okay, and I press OK. So make sure you select Windows Form. Okay, don't select anything else. It's C# and the Windows Form by default. All right. So first of all, let's just create two text boxes. What happened to my text box? My toolbox. Toolbox. Okay. Is there now? So I'm going to create first of all, create two text boxes. Two text box. Okay. So let's say the first box, let's name it, give a name, let's call that TXT1. Okay. And then let's create a second box. And then let's say the TXT2. All right. And then let's put a button beside. Okay. So let's give a name. Let's just say this is button compute. And then here is compute. Very simple, right? Okay. So now let's say, suppose this is a question for your homework, right? So the question was asking if you enter a text into a date in here, and then you want a second box to show which day, weekday, right? So first of all, you need to have a variable to get data, to hold data from this text box. So what kind of variable you need to hold? Because we are going to enter date, some kind of date, right? So apparently the variable you need is data time. Does that make sense? So I'm going to put a code behind this button here. Okay. So you need to create a data time variable first. So let's just say this is just say D, okay? D, symbol. All right. So that is the first step. Make sure you declare right variable to hold the data. Because without it, then then what after that does not make any sense. So I have created a memory block, the memory block called D, and I want to use the D to hold the data coming from the text box. So I'm going to just say D equals to txt1.text. Okay, semicolon. And then while you do that, you say immediately you say that there's a real mouse over this red curly lines. You will say that cannot implicitly convert string to data time. So what is data time? D is data time. Which one string? This tells you what kind of data you have now on the right-hand side. So they don't match. So therefore, you need to convert. You need to make sure this is converted into data time so that you can put into this right memory block. Okay. So to do that, just say type convert to data time. And then put that thing inside the parentheses. put the things that you want to convert inside the parentheses. So this whole thing will convert the text value into data type. Just remember whatever you typed in the text box. The text box you put inside could be a number, could be like could be a data type, but it is all considered as text because text box value is always text. Okay. So after we have that, after we have this data type, and the next thing is how do we get the data? How do we get the day for week? So if you mouse over D, if you type D dot, then I told you that if you have data type, you can get a lot of things. Like get a month, year, an hour, minute, second, and also get a week of day for week. So you want to get a day for week, right? So day for week. So that's what you want to get. And where do you put it? Where do you want to put this? You want to put it in the second box. So what you want to put that on the right hand side, and then you say txt2 dot text. So that's what you want to display. You want to put this day for week into the second box. Right? Like that. Okay. So now again, you say type mismatch. If we mouse over the curly lines, it will tell you that you cannot convert day for week into string. So what is day for week? Day for week actually is special kind of things called enumeration. So it's just simply enumerate Monday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like that. Okay. So it's more like a text. So again, so here. This is not really simple text, but it's more like enumeration. So you want to convert into text so that you can put into the text box, right? Okay, so this is what you need to do again. So convert to string. Text is saved as string, and then put this inside. Okay, so this is basically just 3 lines of code. So declare variable to prepare to hold data. And then you can actually hold data by just simply say the variable equals to whatever text box value, right? But then you find out that you need to conversion because otherwise you have that data you have a mismatch. And then you're going to put a result, say D whatever, and to this text box. Okay, so let me show you that. So it now should be working. So if you put any like a date here to 2019, right? So for example, 2019. Oh, that's too much. Okay, and then press start, and that will give you whatever day corresponding for that. Okay. So now let me just continue this. This time I'm not supposed. Instead of showing this Wednesday whatever, instead of that, okay, let me assuming that this is your birthday. I want to use this box to show how old are you. So this is your birthday, and then I want this box to show how old are you, just like your years number of years old. Okay, so let's do that. So again, the first box will show birth date. So then so I'm going to comment this line out. So we do not need that, okay? So since the text box is still date, so we declare variable D to hold that, right? So that's first 2 lines will be the same. So if you do not want to use the same variable, we can do a different one. So we can do the different one. So let's say data time, okay? Let's say birth date, B date. Okay, so that is variable you're going to hold the text box. And then B date equals to txt1.text. That's the same thing, right? As before. But now we need to convert. Convert to data time. Or to string, to data time. Date time. Okay. And then parentheses, put the text box value inside the parentheses. So now you have variable that is holding your birth date. All right. And then we need to find how many days or how many years between now and your birth date. So we need to have another one which is current date. So let's just get current date. So data time, current date. Okay. So that's another variable to hold data time. And for that, for current date, current time, we will use data time dot now. Okay, so that is giving you the current date time. Okay. So you have a birth date and you have a current date. Now you should be able to find out the difference between them, right? So the difference is actually different kind of data. So let's process that, trying to find a number of days, and then divide by 365, and then we get a number of years. Okay, so how do we get a number of days between? So we use time span. Okay, so whatever variable name, just say TS. Okay, so let's declare variable first, and then TS will be equal to current time minus B date. Minus B date. Okay. All right, so after we have data time, now if you say TS dot, this will give you a lot of things. Give you like a total days, the days in between, say days here. So let's say from that I can get a number of days, right? And that divided by 365, that should be the number of years, right? So this should be 365, okay? And then I just need to declare a variable to hold that result. So let's say I'm going to say integer years equals to that. Okay. So from the time span, get number of days divided by 365, you get years, and then put that inside the variable. Okay, the years. So now let's try to report the date in text box. Okay, so that is simply say txt2 dot text equals to years. Equal to years. All right, so you have data you have data mismatch here again. So you know how to handle that, right? Because if you mouse over, then it says you cannot convert integer to string. So you convert whatever on the right-hand side to string. Make sense? To string. And there we go. So now you should be able to see, you know, if you put your birth date in the text box, will give you the number of years, right? So let's try and put anything. So suppose you were born in January 3rd, 1987, and then press compute. Now you're 33 years old. Make sense? So it's just all three-step process. First step, declare variable to hold the initial data entered by the user. Okay. Second step is to process the data, which is inside the variable. Third step, report the result of the variable into under the form. So in this case, we use text box again. Okay. Now at this point, I'm going to just stray a little bit and just go over some other ways of receiving data. So we have text box. We can enter text box value. So what if you have like a combo box? What if you have like a different kind of things? How do we receive data? Okay, and then after that we'll come back to examples again. So let me show you a couple of things here. We did. Let's do combo box next one. Okay, so combo box. Combo box. So let's give a name that is say CBO example, okay? CPU example. Okay. Now let's try to put some data into that items. So the data for combo box, you can just type anything, right? So let's just try to do date, okay? So let's say January 2nd, 1989. Okay. And then on February 1st, 1990. Okay, let's do March 1st, 1998. Let's do one more. Okay, so let's just say April 3rd, 1999. So let's just say we have just four data values here, okay? So now let's say how can we get the data? How can we get the data in here? So this time let's use the same, do we use same button, or we just do different event. So this time let's say suppose I make changes, make a value changes. I want that value to automatically copy it into here, copy it into the first box. Okay. So again, you still have the same problem. First, you need to declare a variable to hold data from the combo box. And then you need to process the data. Finally, you need to report the result into the text box. Make sense? So let's try to find an event. Okay, so event for that should be when selection changes, right? The select index change. So let's put a code behind that. Okay. So remember the combo box has all the days. So we need to declare the variable data time again. Data time, let's just say D again. Okay. And then we're going to process the D. Use D to hold a value from text box. So D equals to CBO example dot selected item. Okay, so you get that, but now you have some kind of a mismatch again. So what do? Convert. Okay, convert this into data time. Convert to data time. Okay. So then whatever you selected will be now in D. So which will be date. Okay. And now let's try to report the result into a text box 1. Text box txt equals to D. You can do that, right? So basically use text box to just simply report the date. So you have data mismatch. So what you can do is you can do say convert to string. Okay. And now if you run it, you say that whatever you selected will go to that first box. Okay. So because you are you make the text to be like data time. So basically we add a time, automatically add a time. Time is like by default 12 o'clock in the midnight. Okay. So you make changes and then your date will be changed. Right. So basically what does the middle step is doing is just convert this whatever text into data time, and then you display the data time as a text. All right, so let me close that. Okay, so this is, say, suppose you have a combo box, you basically doing the same thing, right? So now let's try to do something else. Okay, so let's say, suppose I have data time picker. You say data time picker. Basically, that's calendar. We can do calendar. Data time picker right here. Okay. So I'm going to use data time picker. So that'll basically give you like a calendar, whole calendar you can select. So let's change the name here. Let's just say that is DT picker. Data time picker, just data time, whatever. So now let's try to do this. Suppose I pick up a date. I wanted the date to automatically copy it into this text box, to the first text box again, okay? So the event, so let's find an event. So when you make selections here, so let's say what event will be corresponding to that, or when value changed, okay? So that's by default. So when you select a different value, the value will be put, the value will be changed, and then the selected date will be put into the text box 1. All right, so let's put a code behind this value changed event. Okay, so what do we select is data time, so we'll declare a variable data time again, D. All right, and then we just say D equals to data time picker DT picker dot value, and then semicolon. So very happily, this time you do not need a conversion. Why? Because data time picker give you the date. The value is automatic date. You see that? So you do not need to convert. Okay. And after we have the variable, let's say I want to say, suppose I may do some kind of calculations or that. But now let's just say I want to copy the data, copy the date into the text box. So txt 1 again, the text equals to D. Now you need a conversion because right hand side is data time, left hand side is text. So you need to convert to string. To string. Okay. Make sense? Okay. So you want to try? We can try it. Very simple. So select data, select any date, time, and then the date time should be copied into your text box. Okay. So it's just trying to illustrate, the 3-step process of event-driven programming. That is, receive data from the user interface, and then process data, just process the variables, and then report the result to the form again, to the graphical user interface again. Good. Let's do one more along, maybe 2 more. Yeah, so let's say for this time, let's just try to do, which one? Use a scroll bar here, horizontal scroll bar. Okay, scroll bar here. And then let's set up properties here. For the scroll bar, let's give a name. Yeah. There's a horizontal scroll. S bar. Okay, horizontal scroll bar. And the scroll bar also have like a minimum value, the maximum value you can set. Let's say what is the minimum value here? The minimum is 0. What is the max? Max value is 100. So you can change that. So you can change it to, let's say 500, 5,000 or whatever. Okay. Now let's say, suppose I move the scroll bar left, right, and then I want the value I selected and I copy into text box. Make sense? So this time the value will be like a 1, 2, 3, those kind of integers, right? Okay, so I'm going to use integer variable to hold the value from this scroll bar. And then I'm going to report just simply report that the integer value into text box 1. Okay. So what event I do? So let's say when I move this, when I screw this, the event should be just screw. Yeah, right here, screw. Okay. All right. So let's say scroll bar. So first of all, I need to declare variable to hold a value. Let's just say this is whatever value. Okay, v. Well, just say v. Okay. All right. And I want that v to hold data from the scroll bar, which has scroll bar dot value. Okay. If there's any conversion needed to do, we need to just convert. Otherwise, there's no conversion to be done. So that's perfect. So this is already integer, and the left-hand side is also integer. So they are matching. Okay. And after we have value, now we can report that to text box 1. So that will be V, okay? And now you have a mismatch. So this is value, this text, and this is the number, and this is text. Left-hand side is text, and the right-hand side is number. So you need to convert. Okay, convert to string. Okay, so now let's run it again. So if you move the scroll bar, now you see the data, the form. So minimum is 0, the maximum is 500, right? 500. So you cannot get to 500, huh? Okay. But this is 491. Okay. Those are probably like a discrete choices. Okay, so make sense? So just get data from the scroll bar. What about the radio buttons? So suppose you have radio buttons, how do you get data? Let me just do last one. So the radio button, so let's just put 2 radio buttons. Radio buttons, okay. Okay, so for the radio buttons, let's give a name and let's set a name, and also let's RAD. Let's say the first one is male, okay, male. RAD male, and then the value is male. Okay. Okay, let's do it again. For the second box, choose female. Radio button again. Radio button. Okay. So let's change the text to female. Okay, and then here, RAD female. All right, so now say we suppose I make choices like a male, female, click the buttons. And then I want that choice to be displayed in the text box 1. Okay, so let's say, what do we do? So let's say go to male button and go to event, and then say when checked, changed, right here. When checked, changed. Okay, the default. And then let's say we are going to get data put into text box. So the data we want to display will be like a text, right? Is a male, female. So let's let's declare variable string, and then say gender. Okay, or maybe simply G. Does not matter. Okay, so this time how do we get the G? So if we say G equals to RAD female, male, which one we are doing? So male dot what? To string, to value, to text. So actually this time we will do a little bit different. So we have to handle G a little bit differently. So we will use if, okay, if RAD male is checked, okay, then curly brackets, then we say G equals to male, semicolon. Okay, else, we have only 2 different channels, do we? So if we're going to have like 3 kind of more than 2, then we'll just say if, else if, okay? Else if RAD female is checked. Curly brackets. Then we say G equals to female. Okay, so if that happens, then this, else if this one. Okay, and then else, the other case, G equals to, let's say, unknown. Okay. So when you use checkbox radio buttons, then you will have to use if. If that box is checked, then what is the value? Otherwise, what is different value? Okay. So we have the G variable, and the G variable memory block is going to hold a text, and the text will already assign either male, female, or unknown. And now let's report the result. txt1.text equals to G. And perfectly, this time both sides are text, so there's no need for conversion. Okay. Make sense? Okay, so now let's check. Oh, hold on. So if I get this kind of error says there were build errors, would you like no, press no, and then you're going to get error here. So then you double click on that and say what is error. So what is error? I think I missed something. It says I missed, let me see. Okay, so this one is closed. Where this one's closed? This one is not closed, is it? Did I delete anything? So this one was not closed. So if you mouse here, it says which one will be closed. So actually there's one here which was not closed. Okay. So make sure that when you type a code, don't delete parentheses, curly brackets. So that was the error I think I made. Okay. So all parentheses, curly brackets must be in the pairs. Opening, closing, opening, closing. Make sure you type your code like this, so that way you can easily figure out which place you missed something. Okay. So this was automatically created, and then this is the code we want to put in. And then I think I missed, somehow I deleted this one. So now this time you build again. Okay, you get no errors, right? So now it should be okay. So regarding that, I'm going to show you there's one common errors many of you have made. So let's say click on here, here, right? So that's how radio buttons is going to be processed. Okay, so let me show you the very common errors. This morning, I think one of the students showed me that typical error. So suppose I have a button here, right? So let's create something, anything, could be just a button. I just put a button here, okay? And then I put some kind of code. Suppose I accidentally double click on this, or just go to double click on that, trying to put a code behind, okay? So I don't have a code. I don't have a code yet. So now let's go back to the form. And suppose I found that I want to delete this button. Okay, delete that button. So now let's see what's going to happen. If I'm going to run this, no error. That's interesting. So that error was actually created by some other ways. So what happened was that if I delete, let me close this. When I delete the button, the event was not deleted. So the button deleted, so the event is deleted. I think, let me do it again. I think there was something, that was the way to do it. Okay, let's say the button here, put a button here, and then let's just say, let's try to do something, txt1.text equals to txt2. So I'm just trying to make up an error here. Okay, so I put something here. And then let's go back to the form again. Let's suppose I delete this button. Okay, so let me run it again. Still, no errors. That's interesting. That was the error commonly seen in older Visual Studio. So you get some kind of error saying that the form basically cannot be displayed here at all. So you get some kind of strange errors showing here, saying that there's something which cannot be handled. The handler was missing something. So what happened does not matter what happened. Okay, so if you always go to, so if you say errors, just go to build solutions. And then when you say some kind of errors here, let me just go to make some errors here. Suppose I miss a semicolon here, right? So let's do it again. So if I go to build solutions, and then you say some kind of error, get a list of error messages. Sometimes you have more. So start from the first one, double click, and then go to fix that error. And then after that, build again, and then say second error, and do that one by one, okay? So that's how you handle errors, just in case you type something wrong or did something wrong, okay? And so when you say error message, double click on the error message, fix that. So if you cannot fix the errors, this is what it will do, okay? So just simply comment that line out, okay? And then go, and then coming back, and then trying to compile again, run again, and then after you fix all the errors, and then going back to fix, uncomment this line. Okay, so we should basically just use a couple of examples to show how we are going to get data from user interface, like text boxes, combo boxes, datetime picker, horizontal bars, radio buttons, into a variable. So the variable you declare must be the right data type. That's very important, okay? So if you're going to put integer here, then you have to declare variable for its integer. If you're going to put like a data time here, then you have to declare data time variable, okay? And then if you're going to have like a text, then you declare text. So always declare variable to hold data coming from the phone. And then you process the variables. That's what we are going to learn in the next couple of weeks. So basically, we're going to learn how to process the variables and using loops, using if else. So we learn how to do if else here. Now let me do what time it is. So we have like 25 minutes. So let's try to come back to examples again. So here I'm not going to use a whiteboard to draw this. Suppose I have the declared variable like this. A is 2.0, so double, and then we have integer b and c. They both are integers. Suppose those are the variables are given. Now, how the computer will process this expression? Suppose this is the one you want to process. Okay, this expression, the manipulation. Okay, so this is a typical order of operation you learned in elementary school. So it's always following so-called PEMDAS the order. First of all, parents is first. Okay, whatever you process handle parents is first. So in this case, b minus 5 must be processed first. Okay, and then you do exponent. So we do not have exponent in this case. And then you do multiplication, division. Multiplication, division, they can be in either order. Then you will just do from left to right. So we have that case here. So a times b divided by c. So which one we done? So you're going to do a times b first, and then divide by c next. Okay. Only after that you're going to do division, and you're going to do additions and subtractions. And again, you follow that from left to right order. So you're going to do this minus first. So after you have this parentheses first, and then you do the x1 next, and then you minus 1.5. Okay, and then you do plus. So from left to right. So I purposely put in something here. This is single quote A. What is that? This is a character. Remember I told you how to declare a character? Call the individual letters like A, B, C, Ds, or some non-printable characters like a \n, \t, those kind of things, all right? So when you have this kind of operation, this numbers, this is text, okay? This is Charles, okay? This is Charles. You always follow the order that from special type to more general type. So what is the more general type? The more general type is double here. This is integer. This is not integer. This is what? This is character. Character is just like a. What is a character? Character is not text. Character is actually a very special form. Is special kind of integer. It's just like using ASCII code. Basically, each letter representing one integer in the ASCII table. So this A double quote, single quote around that, and this will be automatically converted to integer. Okay, because you have the integer, you have every integer and also double in there, and then the integer will be also converted into double. So basically, this time this A is doing 2 level up, or implicit conversion. First from character to integer, and then from integer to double. So this is actually this will be done as like a A. I think is letter A is actually 97. So this basically this will be converted to 97 first, and then converted to double, which is 97.0 next. Okay, so then the whole thing will be done. So again, PEMDAS order, parentheses first, and then multiplication, division next, and then plus, subtraction next, and the last. Okay, that's always the order. Now let's try to do two more examples here. So suppose you want to program this to do calculations. The first one is this E, right? This is not C. This E equals to mc squared. This Einstein equation. So this is a mass times light squared. Okay, light squared. So how do you process? How do you do that calculation? So apparently you need to declare a variable to hold the mass, which is double. And then you need to have variable to hold c, which is light speed. That is also double, right? And then you're going to have a variable to hold the final calculation result, which is total energy. Okay, so you need to declare 3 variables for that, and then you put that into formula. So let's do that. Okay, let's do that. Put into somewhere here. Okay, let's say, let's see. Let's put just put inside the same button. Okay, let's put it inside the same button here. Okay, so this time I'm going to comment all these things out. Okay, so I'm going to comment the entire block. So this is how you comment: / and star. No, / and the star. So that begins the comment, block comment, and then end, star, and the /. So that ends the block. Okay. So this / that'll comment individual lines, but if you have this, that'll comment the entire block. Okay, so let's comment that. And now let's say I want to have variable to hold mass and the c, right? So let's say double c and the mass. Okay, and then double to hold the final result E. Okay, now let's say I want to use the 2 text boxes to get C. So C equals to txt1.text. Okay, so apparently you have a mismatch. So this is text, and then this is double, right? So what do you need to do? Convert to what? Anybody? Convert to the type on the right and the left hand side. So convert to double. So do it again. So now m, let's say m will be equal to second box. Okay. And again, you have a mismatch. So let's do convert to double again. Okay, so after you have that, now you're ready to do calculations, right? So E equals to mn. That's mass multiplied by the exponent. Exponent, remember we have to use a mass dot power, right? So the base was C, and the exponents 2. Okay, semicolon. Okay, so now we have E equal to that. And what is this? A local parameter named E cannot be declared in this scope because this name is used. So this E is actually a special name. Let's just change that to energy. Energy, okay. Energy, okay. So E was kind of a special name, cannot be used. Now let's say I want to use second box. I want to use a message box. Okay, message box. message box dot show the result, which is energy. Okay, so you say that you have a mismatch because what inside the shell must be text, but then this is not text. So what you need to do is do the conversion, convert to string. Okay, parentheses, surround energy. Okay, so now you have that the calculation result to be displayed using a message box. Okay. Okay, you want to try that? So let's say the mass is 12, and then this speed of light. Does anyone know what is light of speed? Huge number. 40 many zeros. Okay, let's just type a few numbers here. So it may not be complete. So this is the total energy can be obtained from that amount of mass by using nuclear fission. Okay. All right, so that is done. Now let's try to do the next one. Next one is, say, suppose I want to do this calculation, okay? I want to do this calculation. So y equals to that 2a divided by 3b and this. So apparently this one has what? A and B, some kind of like numbers, decimal numbers in general, right? If they are integers, then this y must be integers, right? So let's just assume that this a and b are what? Integers? We can do integers, does not matter. So assuming a and b are integers, and then the result of y will be integers again, right? So let's say, how can we do this using this calculation? So I'm going to use the same button to do the calculation. So I'm going to comment what we have already. Okay. So I'm going to declare 3 integers, a, b, and c. Okay. So you can actually declare all variables in one line, right? Comma, comma, comma. Okay. Okay. So a is integer, which will get the value from text box 1. Okay. And apparently you need a conversion. So let's do the convert. To convert to what? To integer 16, 32, 64. Which one? By default, integer is 32-bit. Okay, so let's use 32. Okay. And do the same thing, b equals to convert to integer 42 again, that's txt2 text. Okay. So now we have a and b, so we can put in the formula to do calculations. And the formula was y equals to 1 minus that. So let's say, how can we do that? Okay. So no, that's the y a b c. No, I didn't declare not c. So let's just declare a b y. Okay, a b y. Just trying to be consistent with the formula here. Okay, so y equals to, now let's say 1. Okay, minus. Now let's say, how can we handle this fraction? 1 minus 2a. That's 2 times a. Divided by 3b, right? So what we should do? So let me say whether that is. So if I do 2 times a, and then divided by 3 multiplied by b, okay? And then you're going to have parentheses a minus 1. So let's just do that, and then let's see whether you have any problems. A, okay? And then b minus 2. Is it correct? B plus 1, sorry, b plus 1. b plus 1, okay? Now, we have a couple of errors. Can somebody point out what errors I have made? Anybody? Yeah. So there's one error that is, so if you follow the order, there's a minus 1 will be done first, b minus, and then b plus 1 will be done next, all right, from left to right if they both have parentheses. So the both parentheses will be done first, okay? And then you have one, and then you're going to have to do multiplication. So you're going to a multiply by a, 2 multiplied by a, that will be done first. And then you're going to divide by 3 next. Make sense? And then you multiply by b. Is that right? It's not right. So what happened is that this is actually changing the formula into something like this. So let me see whether I can open up. I don't need that. I put this aside here. So let me show that whiteboard. So what is happening here is you are actually doing this. You're actually doing 3 times a, or what is this formula? 2 times a or 3 times a? You're actually doing, okay, 2 times a. So let me delete it. What is actually you're doing is this. You're doing a2 times a, and then divided by 3. Okay? And then you multiply the whole thing by b. So b was actually was fraction, it was in the bottom, but now you're trying to multiply by b, the whole thing multiplied by b. Okay? So that is not right. Does everybody understand? So the first fix for that is to make sure that you wanted 3b to be all divided together. So that you can do by using parentheses. So you want this down to be first before the division. Okay. And now, anything else? Any other errors? Apparently, I missed two multiplications here. This multiplication, so that was missing. Okay, so multiply, and this multiply. So that's how the formula was incorrectly coded. Okay. Make sense? The first 2a you do not need the parentheses because by following the order, then 2 times a will be done first before the division. And then before the division, this 3 times b will be done first. Okay? So that basically division will be dividing whatever result by 2 times b. Okay? All right, so now we are ready to report the result. Let's just say, what do we do? Let's use message box again. Message box. Show. Okay, let's say show y. Okay. Okay, so you can just convert that, but let's say I want to do something a little bit different and say the result. So just like use implicit conversion. So the result is double quotes and then plus. So in that case, that's y will be implicitly converted up to general type, which is text. Okay. Y is an integer, and the integer will be converted into text. All right. Now let's say we don't have time to do one more example, and then I think that should be all we have to do. We have like a few minutes left. Okay, so we probably can do one more example. So let's say we already did example 2, right? Compute the age, given the birth date. And now let's try to do question number 4. This one already did, I think. Divide 2 integers, already did that one. So let's do number 4. Create a program that computes the area of a circle based on the given radius. Okay, radius. So what do we need? We need to have a variable to hold area, and then we need to have a variable to hold the radius, right? And then pi r squared. You compute area, okay? You will be able to compute the area. So let's use the same button. So let's comment this one out. Okay, so radius, r, and area, let's just say all like a double numbers. Okay, so I'm going to get the area, get the radius from the first box. So I'm going to say r equals to txt1 text. Okay. And conversion, so because left-hand side is double, right-hand side is text. So you need to convert to double. Convert to double. All right. And now we're ready to calculate pi. Pi is getting like a what? Mass.pi, right? Okay, so mass.pi is a pi. And that pi multiplied by r squared. So mass to the power. Okay, so r squared. Okay. So now we can use stack in the box to show the result. Txt xt2 dot text equals to a. Again, you have incompatibility, but this time right-hand side is double, left-hand side is text, so you need to convert to text. Convert to string. Okay, so you can try it. So whatever videos you put in, okay, 0.98, and press compute, and then it says this should be the area you get. Okay. Okay, does everybody get the idea? So basically how we process data on the form. So the first thing you want to do is declare right variable to hold the data that coming from the text box or whatever controls. And then make sure you do conversions if the text, the data does not match. And then you process data. So in this case, I receive it and then I process it. Okay. And then eventually you report the result using text box again. So then again, basically you need to make sure the type match. Okay. So whatever left-hand side is, you need to convert to that. All right. I think that's the only thing I can do. Create a program to test. Okay, that's number 5. Create a program to test whether today is your birth date or not. Want to do that? We can do that. Okay, probably can do that in 2 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to use your tag first box to allow you to put date of birth. So you need to tell what's date of birth, and then you'll be able to tell whether today is your birth date or not. Okay. Okay. So we can do that quickly. So that way, next class I probably have a little bit more time. So I'm going to comment this line out. Comment those things out. / Okay. So I'm going to create a data time first. Date time. Let's say birth date, BD. Okay. Declare variable. And that variable will get data from first box, BD equals to txt1 text. Again, type mismatch, you need to convert to data time. convert to data time. Data time. Okay. So after you have today's, after you have your birth date, now we just want to make sure that today's date matches your day and the month. So we need to get today's date also. So let's data time again. And say now n, okay, just n equals to data time dot now. So that is the current date. So how do you tell whether it's a birth date or not? So if bd dot month is equal to n dot month, okay, and bd dot day equals to two equal signs, that means comparison, n dot day. So if day and month are matching, then today is your birthday, right? So then you say txt2 dot text equals to, let's say today is your birthday. Okay. So we are making two comparisons. We compare the month and the day. If they both match, then today's your birthday. Else, then we do something else. We say txt2 dot text equals to today is not the birthday. And then semicolon, finish that text. Okay. There we go. So that is simple, pretty, so it's basically receiving data from using variable to receive data. And now we are using the two variables, birth date and n, to tell whether they have the same month and the same day. Then we use text box 2 to report the result. All right, and you're just right on time, everyone. Any questions? Anybody online? Any questions? Anybody has a question? No question? Okay. If there's no question, I will see everyone on Wednesday.